Hey everybody, and welcome back to the show. This is your boy REDFIRE. I am here with FSD 13.2.6, and we're just going on a test drive today. I finally got the software downloaded into my truck, and we're just going to go ride around downtown Atlanta today and test it out, because where's there a better test bed than the drivers around Atlanta? Because yeah, if you've ever driven down here, you know it's quite the challenge sometimes. So we're gonna go out here, test this out, and see what happens. Hopefully everything works out. Here's this pothole that we always hit every single time. Yep, hit it straight on. So, 13.2.6 came with some interesting things packed into it. The software update was fairly interesting. I was going through the trailer profiles earlier. I do pull a trailer on a rare occasion, believe it or not. And now we have trailer profiles where you can actually tell it which trailer you have hooked up, how much it weighs, how many miles you've driven that particular trailer, how long it is, the dimensions, and all of this. And that all gets thrown into the computer system so that it can better help you tow the trailer, which is actually really nice. I think that's a really innovative concept. I can't wait to try that one out. I'm going to have to go up north later and hook up a trailer and see how it does. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, we have 13.2.6 here, and we're going to see how it drives. The previous update that we've had actually helped out significantly. I cannot tell you how much better FSD has gotten over the last several months. I mean, it's been night and day. I mean, when we first got 12.5, we thought we were on top of the moon doing stuff. And, you know, I would have to intervene every once in a blue moon. With the previous update that we've had, I haven't hardly had to touch the truck at all. It's been almost non-existent. So the amount that FSD has progressed in the last few months, it's not linear by any stretch of the imagination. It is actually exponential improvement with every update thus far. Now, well, let me rephrase that. I should say it's been exponential improvement over the course of several updates, because on an occasion we take, you know, 2 steps forwards and 1 step backwards with some of the updates, and it would just not do as well as the previous update. But then the update after that, or the subsequent update, would actually fix a lot of that, and the FSD would perform a lot better. I guess that's just the nature of training an AI system, I suppose. But I have high hopes for this one. Hopefully it does some things fairly well. It did take the left turn back there fairly nicely, so I can't really complain about it, but it's very consistent because it keeps hitting that same pothole over and over and over again. When is FSD going to learn to avoid potholes? That would be very helpful, because I'd say that's the majority of my disconnects right there. All right, we're just on the local street right now. We're getting ready to jump on the highway here in just a moment, and then onto the interstate. And when we jump on the interstate, I know that's where the traffic's going to be, and we're going to actually take a drive downtown. I've not been to this particular restaurant before, so this is going to be a first for you and me, truth be told, and I'm just going to have to trust it and see what it does. I have learned to use FSD when I'm going into areas I am unfamiliar with. Now you see here it says a hurry 49 max. It's only going to do a maximum of 49 miles per hour here, because quite frankly it doesn't really know what the maximum speed limit is here, so it's kind of guessing. I know what it is here. I'm going to manually dial it up. Even though I manually dialed it up, it figured it out. So now it knows it needs to go 55 miles per hour. I have it in hurry mode. It's staying in the left lane because coming through here, you really do kind of want to be in the left lane. It might get over to the right lane here in a moment because there's a significant amount of traffic that comes onto this highway from the right side. And so it's not really conducive to drive in the right lane here, truth be told. You'll constantly be avoiding guys coming onto the highway here. See what I mean? The guys in front of us are avoiding it. So it's trying to keep up with the flow of traffic, which is good. So I'm not going to ding it too badly for wanting to stay in the left lane here. Now, you can see it's 65 max now. When that max pops up, that means it's not going to go any faster because that's the maximum speed upon which it believes it can go, because I have it set to 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. So it's just not going to go any faster unless I manually reset it. I'm not going to do it at the current moment. We don't have to worry about it too badly. But what I was going to say, this FSD versus what's in the Model 3 Highland, they are slightly different versions, and quite frankly, they do act a little bit differently from one another. I mean, they are two different versions after all. But in terms of the way they drive on the highway, they have a few different quirks about them. The Cybertruck does its thing, and the Model 3 does its thing, and they're just different. It's difficult to explain. But when I have been utilizing a certain FSD version for a while, I begin to learn that particular FSD's quirks. I understand what it's going to do before it actually does it. And I've noticed a difference when I jump in my Model 3 and drive that one around, utilize this FSD. And I would say the one in the Model 3 is a little bit more aggressive than the Cybertruck, just a hair. But it is definitely a little bit more aggressive. So I have mine in hurry mode because in the Cybertruck, that's pretty much how I drive for the most part. I don't do a whole lot of lane switching, but it kind of works out for the driving situation here in Atlanta. However, when I get in the Model 3, I do notice when I have it in hurry mode, it tends to swap lanes a little bit more often than the Cybertruck does, which is very interesting. So sometimes I knock it down to standard. I mean, even in chill mode, the Model 3 tends to swap lanes quite a bit. So those guys out there talking about FSD changes lanes too much, it's not your imagination, but I will also say it's also denoted by what model Tesla you're driving. And that seems to have an effect on it. So as you can see, we're still going 65 miles an hour here. We got guys behind us, not very many. So nobody's passing us up on the right. We're still going fast enough to the point where we're passing the guys on the left. So we're not obstructing traffic. As I said, getting in the right lane here is, not very beneficial. And I think FSD knows that because I have it in hurry mode. So it's just sticking to the left lane here. Now, what's getting ready to happen is that we're getting ready to hit the exit off of this highway here. And this exit's going to put us on the interstate. And we're going to have to get into this right lane here in a moment. It won't have a choice. Otherwise, we'll just miss our turnoff. And there it goes. It's already getting over. Even though this car in front of us is really slow, I thought for sure he would go beyond it. That's definitely a difference. The previous version would have accelerated, gotten around that car, and then would have gotten over. Oh, and he's confused. Oh boy. He's lost. See, there's the split I was talking about. Now it's time to get into the infamous Atlanta interstate system. Traffic does not appear to be too bad today, so we might be in luck. Might be able to hop into the HOV lane for a minute. There have been some quirks in the HOV lane. If you've watched my previous driving videos, then you know FSD and HOV lanes do not normally mix very well. They fixed a lot of it in the previous update, but I will say that it's working. It stopped FSD from getting off at the left-hand exits out of the HOV lane, which is what it was trying to do. It was, even though the navigation system was telling it the proper way to go, for whatever reason, it wanted to make a beeline for the exit. No idea why. So it's trying to get all the way over. We'll see if it automatically goes for the HOV lane. It is set in the autopilot to do the HOV, so we'll see if it actually happens. Guys behind me are flashing the lights for me to get over. That's nice. I've noticed that a lot more lately when I've been using FSD. Guys will flash the lights letting me know they can get over. Very courteous. Okay, so it took a pause here right at the HOV lane. There's a guy sitting right in my blind spot off the left. Now, the other issue I have noted specifically on this interstate is that there are certain spots where FSD gets confused and it starts changing out of the HOV lane very quickly. I'm going to tell it to get over because I really wanted to go into the HOV lane to see if we'll go take care of things. It may not be getting over. It just denied me. It said, no, I'm not going over there. We're not getting over. Even though we have almost 5 miles to go. Come on, FSD, let's get over. All right, there we go. Yeah, there are certain spots along which the interstate in general has some quirks about it in terms of Google Maps, so I know that's affecting it a little bit. It's got to tell it to continue staying on I-75 or I-85 north in certain spots. And I know that confuses the system. And so it will try to continually jump out of the HOV lane when you really don't have to. And so what it does, it causes the vehicle to swap lanes a lot. Like goes left, right, left, right, left, right. And it has something to do with the fact that how Google Maps are mapping the interstate. I know that's what it is. Because I notice it not only in here, but I noticed it on my phone and I noticed it in my other vehicles as well. How the navigation goes on this specific interstate. And I suspect there are other interstates throughout the nation that does something very similar. So if you happen to be getting some crazy lane changes, I'm willing to bet that has something to do with it. And we'll see in a moment. Typically what I've noticed, FSD tries to start getting over right around 0.8 miles prior to the exit. So 0.8 of a mile, it tries to start making its way over to get off of the interstate. In this case, we have 3 miles to go, so it should stay here. I think where it really has the problems are a little bit north of where we're actually going today. Okay, so here we go. We're getting off the interstate. Making our way through the traffic. Going to get off the interstate here very shortly. Oh, by the way, if you notice my screen, it is a little bit lower, and the reason why it's a little bit lower is because I did install the screen swivel on the screen, so I can actually rotate my screen left and right. If you want to know how to get that, check the description below, and we have some great discount codes on some of the accessories, including that lovely screen swivel. I'll post a link to the install video for that particular screen swivel. I have to say, I actually love it. I really do love it. It did drop the screen roughly about 1 inch below where it normally is, but it's nice. It was definitely worth it. Yeah, it's definitely worth it. I like this screen pointed towards me. I just have it facing forward just for the camera today, so you can get a nice view of the screen while we're driving here. So here we are downtown. Once again, traffic's not too bad. There's a guy juggling in the middle of the street. Okay then, he's literally juggling bowling pins. Well, we don't see that every day in downtown Atlanta. I've seen that in other countries quite a bit. I've just not seen it here. Well, if you got a talent, use it. Smartly, it got in the right lane. Because we're getting ready to turn right up here. It's doing a very good job at navigating these streets. I did make a left turn earlier. Guys have been complaining about that left turn. It did not appear that it went poorly. Let's see, the right turn. Oh, they got a car right here, sitting here. Went around it. This guy's stopping. FSD is going around this vehicle, trying him, but he's confused. He doesn't know what he's doing, or she doesn't know what she's doing. Wow. That was different. FSD said, you know what? I'm just going to go in the middle of the street between all the lanes and get around her. Which, quite frankly, I probably would have done, because she slowed down at one point and almost, stopped right in front of us. I may have stopped right behind her, but FSD just kept on trucking, didn't see any traffic in front of us, went around her, almost into the oncoming lane, and it just kept on going. What I find interesting is that the watt hour per mile is down at 367 right now, for a variety of reasons. I noticed my watt hour per mile spiked when it got really, really cold. I mean, I was doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 450. 360 is, and 400 and below is where I'm used to seeing. On average, it should be 410, right where the long-term watt hour per mile is at. That's what it should be. So here's another left turn. There's a car there. That doesn't count because the car kept us in our lane. We're going to have to make a left turn where there is no car. All right, FSD is now engaged. We just came up out of the parking garage. FSD is now engaged. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get us into traffic here and get us moving. Oh wow, it's trying to make a left turn here. I may have to give it a little nudge to get moving here. We'll see. I just put my foot on the accelerator a little bit, and it's taking us the rest of the way. So it's getting us into this turn lane here, and now it's trying to get over. So this is one of those boss moves I was talking about before. We're in the left-hand turning lane. I don't know how this is going to work out. I really don't know how this is going to work out. Well, actually, it might work out a little bit better, because if it does actually wind up turning here, I hope it doesn't try to go straight. I'm going to have to take over if it does try to go straight. This is left turn only. Gotta go, buddy. Whoa. All right, so what happened there was, I was in a left turn lane. FSD was trying to go straight, and I had to take control because it was trying to go straight in a left turn only lane, and then it was trying to go straight up through the red light. Now, in all fairness, I put it into that impossible position because I put my foot on the accelerator just to get it to go across before it was ready, but he kept pulling up. So that was part my fault, part its own fault. But that's one of the things that full self-driving unsupervised has to take into account. And those are the kind of situations that the system is not perfected yet. It probably will at some point, but that's not quite perfected. But if that's the worst of it, you know what? I'm good with that. Lots of construction on this street, and lanes are narrow. Overall, great drive. For everyday driver getting from point A to point B in the Cybertruck, great system. It's almost flawless in that regard. I'm not sure if it's quite robotaxi ready because of the very unique situations that popped up, in which case I had to do a slight intervention, not necessarily a critical intervention, but it was an intervention in order to, you know, kind of point FSD in the correct direction more than anything else. And by doing that, I probably messed it up opposed to what it was going to do ordinarily. So I kind of unintentionally put it into a much more difficult position than it would have been otherwise if I had just left it alone. But I was impatient, so that's on me. But overall, like I said, really great system. Well, don't forget to look in the description below for some great discounts on some other Tesla accessories. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below, if you're going to use FSD, or what you think about it, or if you really think robotaxi is actually going to come the way that Tesla and Elon says it's going to come about. Well, it's been great. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.